Hey, y'all. Just a moment. As always, still distributing my link here. I'm happy to be back though. Like, I had got so sick. I had got so sick this past week, you guys. I was down with strep for a little bit. So this week has definitely been crazy. But I am feeling so much better. Well rested. How's everyone else doing? What's the tea? Hey, today we're going to be talking about practical magic. Um, well, the practicality of magic, I would say. Has anyone ever seen that movie, Practical Magic? I love that movie so much. It has nothing to do with tonight's conversation, but the movie Practical Magic, which I believe it has Sandra Bullock. I love her. I love her. I used to watch all those old movies. Like Practical Magic is one of my class favorites. And then oh, have you had Love Potion number 9 with Sandra Bullock? Those are some of my favorite movies. Like she used to be one of my favorite actresses, but she doesn't act that much anymore. But I loved her stuff. I loved her stuff. Honestly, like anything that's kind of like witchy woo woo. Hi, Priestess Gina. Anything that's like witchy woo woo, I love it. Okay, I'm gonna get started here shortly. Now, technically, so what I will say before I get like started. So technically, there's a lot that goes into this concept of practical magic, right? I'm gonna try to keep this. I'm gonna give you very basics and hope to kind of like change your thinking pattern in relation to your work. I think that understanding practical magic is going to like, especially if you're someone who does work for others, I think that this is going to dramatically like improve the results and then just like dramatically improve your understanding of if you watch my video, The Law of Sympathetic Magic, this is like dramatically gonna, I feel like improve your understanding of the science behind our magic and kind of like why it works. So what I will say is like technically there's 4 principles of practical magic, but we won't discuss the 4 principles tonight. Maybe do it in the future, or you can have to sign up for mentorship. But I mean, you can always come see me at the Voodoo Institute, and I will teach you. But yeah, so technically, there's 4 principles of practical magic. But you can come see me, sign up for mentorship. You can visit the African Magic School to learn those and to actually get comfortable with, utilizing them in your work. For some of you guys who have been working for a long time or just been out there, I kind of feel like, um, you may already be like somewhat familiar with. Hi, welcome to all of you who are getting ready to start here in just a few more seconds. Thank you all for stopping by. Let me see here. It's also really cold in my city too. We had a snowstorm. You see, like I don't know. I'm just like a person who's always cold. Most of the time, I'm always cold. Hard to get me warm. Let's see. Okay. All right, dropping the link in one more place. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way in. This popping here, okay? As I was just saying, like this is somewhat related to or kind of like a follow-up conversation. Excuse me if my voice goes out tonight or whatever. Just still getting over strep, but I'm doing way better. Trust me, I'm doing so much better. But so this is going to be kind of like a continuation of our conversation on the law of sympathetic magic. Like I said, this has the exact same basis of understanding of how and why our magic works. So what I will say about practical magic comes with practical action, which I know, right? Like I said, I kind of feel like, a lot of you may already know this information, but believe it or not, there's a lot of people who are unaware of kind of how it works or how to kind of get things in play to basically like improve the results of your work or improve your outcome, right? But practical magic, try to remember this, like make a note of this, okay? Practical magic comes with practical action. And this is also the equivalent to faith without work is dead. Okay, I'm going to say that again because it's so important. I know if you guys pay attention at all to me or a lot of the other staff members here at BSN, like you will hear them say it's practical, right? Our magic is practical, but that just the way to sum that up is practical magic comes with practical action. Okay, and like I said, the translation of that is also faith without work is what? Dead. Um, we know that sometimes while doing our work and everything, that mundane action is required. Sometimes there's practical solutions or practical actions that you have to take as well as doing your work. What I'll also say is that like a goal without a plan is a wish. Technically, a goal without a plan is a wish. Okay, so let's also just look at, and just to give you guys like a better understanding of like where I'm coming from or what I mean when I say practical magic. If you look at the actual definition of practical, it says concerned with the actual doing or use of something rather than theory or ideas. Concerned with the actual doing or use of something rather than theory or ideas. So practical action. Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's concerned with the actual doing of something. This means putting real life action behind the things that we want, much like we do when we're using the law of sympathetic magic. For those of you who are here, I think I see a couple of new faces. For those of you who are here and you haven't watched that video, I will also recommend it too. But we're using that law. In many cases, we're putting like real life action behind the things that we want. So when I say that, we're putting real life action behind the things like we want, much like we do when we're using the law of sympathetic magic, okay? Something else that I will refer to and just kind of like use as an example, I'm going to hop back again as well. This is like a reference to like the law of attraction. If you all are familiar with that, I did do a video on the law of attraction because it is something that I love. I love The Secret. I don't know if you guys have seen The Secret I talk about it all the time. I talk about it all the time, but Netflix has the documentary The Secret. It's still on there. It's really old at this point, so it's kind of cheesy, but the information that you get is invaluable. Okay, so there's The Secret, and then the book The Secret, which is actually one of my favorite reads. That's what I'm talking about right now. Excuse me. I'm talking about The Secret, or the Law of Attraction. So even with using the law of attraction, the basis of that is you basically manifesting and using your thoughts and your mind to materialize the things that you want are around you, right? It's like a concept of the universe in manifestation. So, but even though you're manifesting, you're using the law of attraction to attract all these wonderful things to you, practicality still applies. Faith without work is what? Dead. Practicality still applies to the law of attraction. So in one example of this is I wish I knew his name. I'm sure I could Google it, or we could Google it, or whatever at one point. But there is the author of the best-selling book, Chicken Soup for the Soul. I've never personally read that one, but it was really popular when I was growing up. The author in the video, like he is the author of the book Chicken Soup for the Soul, and he talks about his experience and how he used the law of attraction to, manifest his reality. Like, so he used spiritual law. The law of attraction is a spiritual law, but he used spiritual law to manifest his reality. And he's made millions at this point. Like, he's well known. I don't really know what he's doing today, but he goes on record in the Netflix documentary and tells us like that he used the law of attraction. Okay, so he says that he wanted to make 6 figures in 1 year, but he didn't know how. Right? He just knew that he started off just knowing that he wanted to make 6 figures in a year. Okay. Now, he took his first action, right, by creating a goal or creating an idea. But he took his first practical step after creating the idea was to, his first practical action was writing a book. He wrote a book. So by him taking his practical action of writing the book, he created an avenue for money to come in. Okay? Are you following me? His practical action in this situation. Thank you. I appreciate that. The authors, let me just pin it. Let me pin that. Yes. So I haven't actually read his book, but I know he did manifest a lot of money. He did manifest a lot of money, you guys. But his first practical action was writing the book. And then that's where the spiritual aspect comes in. Now, I'll talk about this a little. You'll start to see more as I talk a little longer, but like for business owners or when we're trying to do prosperity work and stuff like that, there needs to be, and I say this about money magic, but there has to be an avenue for the money to come in, right? There has to be a way for you to get the money. For example, and this is just an unexpected avenue. I had a girl, we had did prosperity work, and like, she did have multiple avenues for income, right? Like, she had a job, she kind of had like a little side hustle or such, but she did prosperity work. And it turns out that she had overpaid. She had overpaid for her college tuition. The school ended up writing her a check, and she ended up getting like $5,000 back in overpayment, right? It's an open avenue. It was an open avenue of income, and it came from somewhere. So it's that's the idea of money coming in for unexpected sources. Sometimes we use affirmations, or we include the intentions of money coming in from expected and unexpected sources. But that was an unexpected source for her, but that was still an avenue or a way for the money to come in. So back to the author. Sorry, I got off track. But back to the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, right? So his first practical action he took by writing a book. And then with his spiritual work, or him applying spiritual law, he created an avenue for the money to come through, and then it came. Same thing practically for us. Whenever we're doing spiritual work, how can you get money without doing things to get the money? I don't want to say like sometimes people may have like an expectation that, okay, I'm just doing anything, somehow the money is just going to come to me. Let me go back to my quote, okay? Practical magic comes with practical action. Faith without work is dead, okay? How can you ask yourself how to get the money without doing things to get the money? And I'll elaborate on that a little bit more. And I'm just only like tonight, I'm primarily speaking more. So I'm using money magic, primary example, because it's like one of the common services that people ask for outside of like love magic. But when I say avenue, yeah, it can be anything. It can be a job, stock, Bitcoin, businesses, hustles, things like that. Channels for the money to come through, right? So let's say that you do spiritual work to get a job, or you're doing magic or spell work to actually get a job. You should still apply for the job, right? Or if a particular home or something like that you want, even though we're going to do our spiritual work on it, you should still apply for the home. You should still apply for the loan. Does that make sense? Like I was saying, it can still come through expected and unexpected sources. Specifically, there is still some type of avenue for that money to come through. Okay. Practical magic comes with practical action. Okay. So I'm going to give a loose example here. Okay. So let's say, for example, there was like a client who wanted to do prosperity work for her husband. Okay. At the time when, I first spoke with her, he had no job. He had actually gotten fired. Okay. But as soon as the prosperity work was done, okay. And like I said, there was, practical action on there, and because they had another job offer on the table, right? And that he had actually like applied for. And that's crazy. Like, it's crazy because he got the other job. But then y'all peep this. The job that he ended up getting removed for called him back and offered double the pay. Okay, so we know that spirit moved and spirit did its part. Okay, because we got job offers on the table. Shoot, we even at this point we're getting the old job back. But once I followed up with the client, they had turned down both of the jobs. Both of them. This is an example of a lack of practical action. Spirit moved, spirit did its part, the prosperity work, the income, but it was to the client who, just like in this case, accept the money that came in and did. So, practical magic comes with practical action. Okay, is it starting to make sense now? Because I know it's not a tough concept, but I think once you kind of get the idea of how it goes, like I said, you can kind of use this in your work. You can definitely use this. You should. And as I said, there is more to it. So like the information that I'm giving you tonight is not exhaustive. A lot of this, like, you kind of learn from magical herbalism, familiarizing yourself with spiritual law, etc. So like I said, you can come see me if you want all of this. You can come see me at the Voodoo Institute. I do offer like private tutoring sessions, also, like I said, mentorship, and then the African School of Magic. Okay, so this is example number 2 of practical magic. Okay, and this is actually a solution, like a situation that didn't actually even require work, because that's how practical it was. Okay, so I had a client, and don't worry, like they're totally cool with me telling these stories. But okay, so had another client who invited her brother to live with her. Okay, now once she invited her brother to come and live with her, he moved his girlfriend in without her permission. So she invites the brother to come live with her, helping him out in a hard time. So then he comes and he moves his girlfriend in without her permission. the client, she's like really upset. She's like frustrated. Hey, welcome. But like she's frustrated and she's like really upset. And she was like, she wanted to do work basically to remove the girlfriend, right? And I was like, so just to be clear, like you're wanting to do spiritual work to like banish this person or remove them from your home situation. She was like, yeah, I want to. So, of course, when in doubt, divine it out. Okay. So I'm doing my divinations and, and during the divinations, okay, you guys, I'm doing the divinations, right? And the ancestors, basically, like the reading was saying that the ancestors were like, yes, you can do the work. We will support the removal of the girlfriend. However, okay, this is where the practicality comes in on our end. The practical solution comes in. So the ancestors were like, yeah, you can do work, to get rid of this person. But the ancestor said that it's not the girlfriend that's the problem. It was the client's brother that's the problem. What I found in the divinations is like what the ancestors were saying is like you can do the work. You can do the work to get rid of the girlfriend. However, the client would just continue to run into the same problems. And by that, I mean, yes, we could get rid of said girlfriend, but the brother would just bring another girl in and another one in and another one in, right? The true problem that it had come down to in this particular situation, practically, the practical action was for her to talk to her brother first. Like we were here, we doing divinations. This girl is looking to remove his girlfriend at this point, and you haven't even talked to her yet. I mean, you haven't even talked to him yet. You know what I mean? So that's the practical action we would take. Why don't you talk to your brother? Talk to him first. After all, it's home, right? And it actually came down to the truth of the situation, you guys. Like that particular situation actually came down to her having like a poor root chakra, and she had an inability to set boundaries for herself, right? So this, like I said, this particular situation didn't even need work because that's how practical it was, right? The practical action, instead of doing spiritual work to banish and, do whatever we're trying to do to said girlfriend, the practical action would have been to, hey, this is my house. Don't bring said girlfriend to the house. And sometimes it's as simple as that, right? And like I said, I know that I'm primarily just like giving examples about prosperity because, like I said, this is something that, people request all the time. But I think practicality or practical magic should also be something that is thought of when it comes to love magic as well. You have to ask yourself, does this person who's coming to you, who wants you to do work to attract Michael B. Jordan, do they know Michael B. Jordan? Do they have access to him? Do they run in the same circles? Practical things, right? When looking at love work sometimes, especially with a client that you're maybe not that familiar with or that you don't know on a personal level, look at their astrology. Look at, ask yourself, is this person, like, can they maintain a relationship after you do this work? Right? Those are certain things that you look at, right? Like, does your client typically run people off? Hold on, sorry, guys. Okay. So, can they stay in a relationship? Those are all very, 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 very practical things. Okay. I want you to remember, especially because hey, it's vast. People do things or they do work different ways. But what I will say, and I know it sounds weird to like say it, but people definitely think differently about it. But if you have a job or if you have a home and you're wanting to do work, if you're wanting to get a job or if you're wanting to get a promotion, and don't get me wrong, sometimes spirit moves, okay? Like I've been surprised sometimes at some of the results, right? That I have gotten just like completely unexpected. But what I will say, when you're doing work on things like trying to get a promotion, trying to attract money, make sure you have avenues or things set up for you to be able to receive that money. Okay. When you're looking for, like, if you're wanting to get a promotion or if you're wanting to get a job, you apply for a job, right? Make sure that you're putting your best effort forward and then let spirit do the rest in those particular situations. So these are the type of things that you want to, and then, like I said, there's so much more information included with it. Like I kind of want to talk a little bit about like the principles of it and just, yeah, I kind of want to go more in detail. So there's a possibility, I won't make any promises, but there's like a possibility I may do a second part where we break down the principles of practical magic so that you'll kind of understand more so how to apply them into your own personal workings. But these are some of the things that I want you to think of, especially when it comes to love magic, practicality, okay? Keep these things in mind when you're doing work for yourself and for others. And just in general, so we already know that faith without work is dead. I just want y'all to like live by that, period. Faith without work is dead, okay? I have all the faith in the world that these things are going to happen for me. Like, let's say, for example, I want to manifest a trip, right? Let's say I'm trying to go to Haiti, right? And I have that in my head, and I know for a fact I'm going to Haiti, but I'm going to do work to get to Haiti, right? I'm going to do spiritual work so that I get there, but I'm also going to be, in the meantime, taking practical action. I'm going to work. I'm going to apply for, I already have mine, but I'm going to apply for that passport. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking practical steps to also get me to Haiti. Okay? So faith without work is what? Is dead. Okay? Faith without work is dead. Remember that practical magic comes with practical action. Okay? So that is what I have for that, to kind of get you guys thinking a little bit differently. Also, before I get off of here, because I do have another class, I have to teach a class tonight for the heart chakra. So I'm running today. But I wanted to let you all know that Hounsi Soleil and we have our Divine Feminine Mentorship Program coming up. So please be on the lookout for that information. We've started dispersing it throughout Facebook. It's going on. It's being shared in the WhatsApp groups, Discord. You definitely want to get in on that. Also, come see me at the Voodoo Institute. I am now offering sound healings or sound bath sessions. So if you're wanting or you're interested in the energy of sound to align and restore your chakras, kind of cleanse your energy, please book that. That is now live on my calendar as well. And as always, private consultations. Private tutoring sessions are available, still offering all the readings, including the ancestral life path reading. So definitely get with me on that. And I know some people were asking about the advanced chakra mentorship. We're still currently going. It's like going a little bit longer than what we had originally planned, and that's okay. So we're still currently going. So right now we're not accepting new students, but as soon as we restart that, I will definitely let everyone know the dates on that too. Okay. So yes, thank you all for stopping by. Remember, practical magic comes with practical action, and y'all be blessed. Have a good week.